All right, we'll see. We'll see how this goes. All right, we'll see.
Everything's normal, and the next thing I know, I see a garbage truck, and I start launching manhole covers.
Just about to start. Give it a few more minutes. My dog Hila's about to bark. Not quite yet. All right, let's get started. Hello, everyone. Welcome. My name is George Mormisato, and I'm the developer of Transcendence. And I've been twitching basically every week now, doing a bunch of playthroughs and showing off some mods. Today I'm going to do something slightly different. I'm going to show off how I create some of the artwork in the game. I hope this will be useful. I think there's so many modders out there. We just saw a bunch of their mods, and it's just it's exciting to see all the great artwork, and that's one of the things that I really loved about it. And so I'm hoping that sharing some of these tips with how I've created some of the art will help some modders to create their own art. So let's see. We'll see how this episode goes. I've never done this before, so I don't know how far we're going to get. What I'm going to do today is I'm going to actually draw. Let me just switch to Photoshop here. I think everyone can see this. What I'm actually going to do is I'm going to do a model for the Sigen class. The Sigen class is a missile ship that shows up in Corporate Command. It just shows up in one mission, and right now it's using kind of placeholder graphics. It's using the graphics from the Aurochs transport. So I want to basically just create this graphic from scratch, and so we're going to use TrueSpace. TrueSpace is the program that I've been using pretty much for all the models here. It just happens to be the 3D package that I've used, that I've learned. So that's the one that I'm going to use. But for you guys out there. TrueSpace is one of those dead-end products. It's not being developed anymore. It's available for free, so you can just download it right now and start using it. But it's never going to be enhanced. There's a ton of bugs that they're never going to fix. So unless you're like me and you've already kind of got your muscle memory on using TrueSpace, you probably should learn a different package. There's a ton out there. Blender, of course, is another free alternative. If you have the money, 3D Studio Max and all that is probably what the professionals use, and you should learn that if you want to do that. But I'm going to show you TrueSpace, and so I'm going to show you some tips on modeling. Some of it I think will be transferable to other programs, but some of it might not. But let's see. Let's see, because I think it'll be fun either way. All right. So this is the model that I'm going to try to do. This is the Sigen class. Originally I designed this. I wanted to do this kind of as a part of the family of the Freyr. The Freyr, if you remember, is one of the ships in Corporate Command. It's the fast, silver-looking ship, and this is they're made by Razir Messer, one of the corporations in the universe, and this ship that I want to do today is basically just a variant of it. It's designed to be a missile ship instead of a fast gunship. So this is what we're going to end up with. All right, let's flip to true space. This is the Freyr class, so this is what we're going to start with, and I'm going to cheat a little bit. I mean, I'm using this partly as reference, partly I'm going to rip out some parts. This is how I do it almost all the time anyways, so I think this is kind of how you should do it. Try to reuse parts as much as possible. So let's get started. We're going to do some kind of clean up things first. Okay, so this is the model that we're going to just use as kind of sample, but really we're going to just build this from scratch. Now, one of the things I've been doing more recently is trying to do everything to scale. The Freyr is about 27 meters long, and I kind of scale it out here in the size. You know, I think it's the whoops, whoa, wrong one. The y-axis is the front and back. It's about 2.7 units. So the scale that I'm using consistently for all my models now, this was not true in the past, but now this is what I'm starting, is 0.1 units per meter. And I'm doing that basically for all models from ships all the way out to, you know, half a kilometer stations. So that's kind of the consistent scale. And one thing that I always do just to help me out in doing some of these models is I always start out with kind of a representation of a human. I don't know why I'm not showing. I bet it's because of I guarantee for some reason I'm not showing the nice outlines, but I don't know exactly why. Oop. And now this is where we're hitting true space bugs, no doubt. Part of the problem is I've never done this combination of twitching and true space. Almost certainly, oh, there we go. Now that's much better. Almost certainly there's going to be some bugs because of the interaction between true space and the Twitch engine. But all right, we'll get it. So what I was saying is one thing I like to do is I like to create kind of a representation of a human being just so that I can understand from a scale perspective you know, how big the model is going to be and you know what the model is going to be look like. So this basically kind of represents my human being. It's just, you know, 1 meter by 2 meter cylinder, and this will help me as I'm doing the model to kind of make sure that the scale is correct. Like for instance, you know, you want the windows to be human scaled, not to be either way too big or way too small. So having this little representation for me is kind of one way that I can just keep my model, you know, accurate or true. So okay, that's my human scale. There's kind of the old thing that we're going to start with. I'm going to steal this texture because we're going to start with that texture. I may not completely use it, but that's kind of what I'm gonna do. We'll talk about textures a little bit more when we're doing more texturing stuff, but for now I think I'm just going to just stick with that. Okay. So the first thing I'm going to do is try to, if we refer back to what I'm trying to do, I'm going to try to create these wings. These will be a little easier because unlike the Freyr, they're not bent, so it should be a little easier. And I think what I'm going to do is I'm going to use something called the extrude function. Now let me get back here. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to start by drawing out a little shape here. We're going to use kind of a curve. Actually, did I do that right? I think I probably want. Is that what I want? No, that wasn't what I wanted. And now I'm screwed. Oh, here we go. Sorry. Now this is why true space gets to be a pain all the time. look at where I am now. I'm like in a completely there we go. Oh, sorry. Sorry, guys. Sometimes Hilo goes crazy. Alright, I'm sorry. Where was I? Yeah, oh yeah, I'm trying to figure out this stupid bug now. So yeah, unfortunately, I'm just running into true space bugs. I gotta get back into my scene without screwing up everything. I'm furiously zooming in. There we go. Am I almost back? I'm almost back. Yeah. Yeah, True Space sometimes just gives you these crazy, stupid coordinate transformations that just totally screw you up. Okay. Back to reality, already in progress. Okay. Whoops. Okay. I probably just screwed that up, but that's okay. We don't need that one. Alright, back to reality. So here's what I'm going to do. I'm going to draw a little shape. I'm going to try to draw basically, let me refer back to this. I'm going to draw essentially a cross section of this, maybe like the cross section over here. And I'll show you guys why that's gonna work out. I'm just gonna do it like this for now. It's gonna be really rough, and then we'll close it. And then I gotta do this stuff here. Just gonna this side, maybe I will leave. Let me just see. I'm trying to think. Nah, the back I think we'll probably also make it round. So we'll make this round too. Why not? And actually that point we may not need, so I think I'm going to delete that point. Okay, so I hope you guys see what I've got. Oh, whoops. Ah. I don't know why it's doing that. It's always fighting with... I'm always fighting with True Space. There we go. Okay. It was better before. There we go. Now, all I care about actually, another thing I wanted to say is, all I care about really is one side. And you'll see, what we're going to do is we're eventually going to just clone it. Clone one side. So really I only care about this side, although the other side is looking a little bit better, so maybe I'll take that side. Yeah, there we go. Take this guy. There we go. Okay. Phew. Okay. Now we've got this little shape. We're going to extrude it with this sweep curve. And one thing I can do in True Space is once I'm extruding it, I can start to shape it. So we're going to shape it by shrinking this one a little bit. And now you'll see the next time I extrude it, it's going to try to shrink it some more. And now I'm just going to let it kind of do its thing. Maybe at some point I'll start to shrink a little bit more because we want to get it down to a little point. And I think we might be close. That might be where we want to end up. I think that's... I may have to adjust this. This is not quite exactly the wing that I wanted. Yeah, that's This is partly trial and error, but this is not quite what I wanted. So let me do that again. Let me flip this around. Let's do the other side, and then we'll just steal that one. Okay, let's try this again. We'll shrink this down a little bit. I think I'm just gonna let it. How'd that work? Still not good enough. Let's shrink it a little bit more because I want it to kind of taper down to a nice little point. That's not what I want either. It's kind of just trial and error here. This is much better. That's much better. That's a smooth curve that I wanted. Okay. Now I've got something I can work with. So here we go. Let's move this over here. Now it's still not quite right because we got some of this extra stuff that we don't need. But basically from 0 up, that's kind of the shape we want. That's the shape I want. So what I'm going to do is let's just center this a little bit. Let's delete that bottom part because we don't need that bottom part. So we're just going to create this giant block here at -1. No, at there we go. This I still think there's something funny with this stuff. And let's go all the way. Actually, we probably need to be 6 deep, which means it's probably -3. Okay. So what I've done is I've basically created just a giant cube that is going to essentially delete all the stuff below. So this stuff we're just going to delete. All right. By the way, another thing I need to do in TrueSpace, which I hope you guys all do, is just save just about everything I do. Every time I do something in TrueSpace, I save it because it's, you know that it's not gonna last. Okay. Now notice the other thing, like I said, remember when we did the curve, I kind of was pretty messy about, one side versus the other. Again, we want it to be symmetric. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to shave off one entire side of that curve, the one that we didn't like, which I think is the right part. We're going to do the exact same thing. Is that big enough? That's probably not big enough. No, that's not big enough. Okay, so we're just going to shave that entire thing off. Whoops. Why did that not work? The other direction. There we go. This is 0 coordinates. Okay. So now I'm going to save before I do anything. Subtract. Now look what I've got. I got that side. And now what I'm going to do, of course, I'm just going to copy this. I'm going to mirror it. And now we can just put it back together. Normally I can probably just do a union. See if that works. That doesn't always work. Yep, see, doesn't always work because sometimes TrueSpace just gets a little confused. It just doesn't quite like it when you do that. To do a union, it basically has to match up all the lines, and There's always round-off error and whatnot, so it won't let me do it. Okay, that's alright. What I'm going to do instead, we'll just join it together with into a grouping, and that's fine. It doesn't have to be. Okay, so look what we've got now. A little wing. Now what we're going to do is we're going to flip this. Let me just correct the axes here. Okay, we're going to flip it 90 degrees. Not that way. Trial and error for me. There we go. That looks pretty good. And then we'll reset the axis so that it feels like it thinks it's normal. And then we're going to turn it around to 180, but again, I think we're going to need to mirror it. No. There we go. That's our wing. Okay, now we're going to join it together again. And look at what we got. All right, so look at that. Now, it's a very symmetric shape. It kind of a little bit, maybe not totally. Let me flip it because we want it to be. Whoops. We want it to point kind of, I think, that way. So is it minus 90 or no, the other way around? Okay, reset. Okay, so now my rotation's set to 0. My little person, I'm gonna move. You guys go over there. Here's my camera view. And so this up here should be the front of the wing. Just want to make sure by dragging this guy over there so you can see it. Yeah, so I'm gonna put this guy. Yeah, so there he is. So that's the front of the wing. I just want to make sure everything's oriented correctly. So really, we're looking at it like this. Okay, let me save. We'll pause a little bit. Let me just read some comments just to make sure I'm not missing like some stupid thing that I should have been doing. Okay, excellent. So now the other thing you notice is this is probably not the right shape. If you look at what I'm actually trying to do, this is probably not quite. It looks like it's not quite the right shape. It looks like it's a little short, this way. So, but those are the kinds of things that are really easy to fix. I can just expand it out a little bit. Maybe 6 might be okay. I think that looks good. It might be a little, I'm not sure, it might be a little fat compared to what the Freyr looks like. I know the size, whoops. I know the size is wrong right now. Although I don't think it's off by too much. Because we want the missile ship to be bigger. In fact, I'm thinking the original Aurochs is about 65 meters, so this missile ship, I think we want it to be in the probably 75, 80 meter range, which means let's just see what that would look like, kind of in terms of just a cube. If we had something that was 70 meters long, it's 7 units this way. Maybe maybe 15 meters high, and maybe it's like I don't know, 50 meters wide, something like that. So that's kind of roughly. Is that a reasonable missile ship? It's not bad. That's kind of the rough size we're talking about. It's not too bad, I think. It might work. That might work. So in that case, we want this wing. Well, actually, sorry, let me center this guy, just so we can have our coordinates correctly. So this wing, which I think is going to go forward, is probably a little bit too big. Probably want this wing to be a little smaller. maybe actually just needs to be smaller this way. Yes, I'll shrink it down a little bit this way, because I'm going to end up with 2 wings, right, if you guys remember. So I'm just going to copy, and I'm going to end up with kind of 2 wings like that, and a body in between. So that's not too bad. That's pretty close to the right size. Let's see. There's a little bit of a gap here, so I think maybe a little shorter, just a touch shorter. So I'm going to make this just a touch shorter, 3.8 maybe. Let's try that. Okay, now we don't need this block. That block is just kind of to help us to, you know, get sizes and all that. But I think that's pretty reasonable. Okay. Now let's keep going. Let's see how things go. I'm reading the comments. George, you're going to be disappointed by commentary in here right now. That's okay. I don't mind. I don't mind. Just remind me when I go back if there's anything that I should pay attention to. Start yelling if there's stuff I need to pay attention to. Okay. Let's center this guy out. Let's go 1.5 out. All right. So the other thing now the thing I want to show you guys is we want to kind of do some of this, you know, interesting detail here. Let's not worry about the center line yet. We'll handle the center line later. Let's see if we can do some of this interesting detail. So a lot of the way I do this is, again, just using a lot of carving out. I just carve out with the Boolean tools. But let's see what we can do. Let me just think through exactly how I want to do this. Part of my problem right now is normally I would do this would be one whole solid shape, but right now it's composed of multiple smaller shapes, and I think that may lead to some problems, but we'll figure it out. Let's go back. Let me just see. So I need to carve out little areas here. I need to carve out some little areas in the front, and really in general I just want some detail kind of on the surface. The Frayer, if you look at the Frayer, just use that as our sample. Let's render that. You know, you can see how basically it's just there's cutouts. There's cutouts in the area, and there's stuff, you know, that goes behind it. So that's essentially what we want to end up doing. We just want to do some cutouts. So what we're going to do then first is let's copy this. We're going to copy this big huge block, because we're going to essentially that's going to be kind of inside in a different shade. Let's try that and see how that works. So in order to do that, let me just shrink it by, let's say, 1 meter in every direction. 1 meter might not be enough. I may need 2 meters. And we're going to color it slightly differently. We're going to color it that color. Okay, what am I selecting here? That's the inside. Did that work? I don't think that worked. Let me make sure it worked. Yeah, okay. Alright, so now basically what we've got is we've got this inside block that with a slightly different color. You know, you can see it kind of there. And then we've got this outside block, and we're basically just going to carve. Oh, sorry. Oops. We're just going to carve into this outer block to get into the inner one. And so to do that, we just create some booleans. Let me just see. Yeah, so remember what we're going to do is we're going to end up putting something on top here. We're probably going to carve out some areas here. So I think what I'm going to do is just try to figure out how to shape those blocks. Probably I think what I'll do is I'll use one of these. Let me get back to this guy. I'm going to create a cube with a little bit of a bevel. So this lets me set kind of, you know, it's got a little bit of a bevel. I'm going to drop it down. So this is what I'm going to use to essentially punch a hole in this thing. The bevel looks pretty good. It's about there. That's about right. Don't worry about the texture. Well, maybe I will worry about the texture. I'll just change the texture a little bit. Okay, there we go. And then we're going to go make sure that it's kind of at the right height. And then we got to make sure it's the right size. So it's going to go like that. Just want to make sure it looks reasonable. Oops. It's a little too thick, I think, and that's okay. We'll just drop it down a little bit. Not too much. Okay, and how's length? Length is probably too big, so maybe drop that down. Maybe a little bit more. Okay, so that's enough to punch a hole. And now the other thing I need to do, you know, that's going to punch a hole, but you know that this is, as this tapers down, this needs to also taper down. So I'm going to use, there's a tool here that lets me do that. Taper, this one. Let's see how this works. I need to bend this. Actually, no. Sorry, I need to taper it this way. No, still wrong. That's way. Okay. Is that right? I think that's right. There we go. Yeah. It's hard to, it's unfortunately hard to see. Let me move this guy. Let me move this guy. But now you can see kind of how it's tapered. Yeah, that's actually pretty good. I'll adjust to fit. Okay, let's move this guy back. So that's, you can see how it kind of forms an outline here that's we're gonna punch that out. And it's going right through, so that's good enough. And now we're gonna need another one of these. I'm gonna save this and I'm gonna go copy. Well, actually, hang on a second. Let me just make sure I'm at the right. I'm just gonna even this out just so that I can be consistent on the other side, so I can be symmetric. That's about right. That's probably about right. You know, the other thing I'm going to do is I'm going to copy this before it, because once I punch a hole in it, I'm going to make a copy of it, because once I punch a hole in it, I can't get it back. I can't unpunch the hole, so I keep a copy just to in case I need it. And same with this guy. This hole punching thing, again, it's a custom-made object. I can't recreate it once I use it to punch a hole. So, and then the other thing I need to do is mirror it and put it on the other side. Okay, so look at that. So now let's see if this works. This is where we get a bunch of true space bugs, but not in this case. It worked. Okay, so I basically just carved a hole. Now let's move this guy back in position. Look at that. So that's kind of the effect that we were going for. We wanted some kind of, you know, cutout to do something. That I think this is definitely where we want to go. I think this is getting pretty decent. Now, the thing I want to the thing for these kinds of textures, now's the time that I want to start to render it to show what it's going to look like. So let's just do some samples, because one of the things that we're going to find is it's going to end up being like this. Let me just render it. I know there's a bunch of other extraneous crap around, but that's roughly what we want. I'm going to render it at the appropriate size. And the appropriate size is for something that's 60. I actually have a spreadsheet to figure this out. For something that's, let's say, I think we said 75 meters, image size should be 94 pixels. So give it a little bit of slop. 100 is probably okay. Yeah, so that's roughly what's going to happen. So we're going to end up with something. We're going to end up with something roughly that big. Now, one thing I want to talk about is part of the, getting this to work, part of getting this to look good is we want to have detail right at the level of resolution. So, meaning we don't want large areas of basically solid color where it just feels like it's just unfinished, but we also don't want detail below the level of resolution. So any detail below, like kind of a pixel here, is just lost. We're just not going to see it. So we'll adjust the texture to match, but also this will help us to make sure that we don't create detail, like actual modeling detail that you're not going to be able to see. So another thing I'm going to do, because I think this always helps, is to create a little bit of, let's do some simple greeble kind of stuff. I copied this guy, so let me copy him again. Actually, tell you what, let's move this guy. Just gonna put this together in an object and move this guy out of our way. This guy we're gonna bring back. Get a copy of him, and what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna slice out some pieces. Let's take a piece that's maybe, I don't know, half a meter wide. That might be too small. Let's say that might be a little bit better. Okay, 0.8 of a meter. I'm just gonna slice a piece here. So this is about minus 1.5. Yeah, that's about right. And then maybe we'll do one at right there, every kind of 5 meter intervals. Let me just think about this. Yeah, I think this will be okay. I'm just trying to do a little bit of texture detail. You guys will see why in a second. And over here, let's take let's make this now a little bit wider. All right. Let's see if this works. And then I'm going to clone it and do the exact same thing on the other side. Okay, and let's join them all into one big group, because why not? Okay, and then now what we're going to do, this may not quite work. Now what I want to do is intersect it, but it's not going to quite work because these are not solid objects, so I'm going to just have to, I may have to do it multiple times. We'll see what happens. We'll see what happens. I'm going to take this. I think I may have to take each individual piece. That's, I think, the problem. And intersect it. And we'll keep the drill with this. Yes, that's what I want. And then that piece we're going to intersect. Same thing. Then that piece we're going to intersect with this guy. Okay, did that work? Let's see. That did not work. That totally did not work. Why did that not work? Alright, well, at least we didn't lose our drill. Let's try that again. We got one piece which we're going to intersect with. Oh, you know what I think I need to do? I think I need to do it the other way. I'm going to separate all these pieces. Okay, I think I need to do it the other way. I think I need to take this and intersect it with each of the pieces. That worked better. But I lost my... I gotta undo that. Okay, save again. Okay, that's what I need to do. So, copy, we'll move this... sorry. It's getting crowded over here, but okay. 8, okay. I'm gonna do it again. Intersect one by one. That guy. That guy. This is working. Intersect with that guy. And intersect with that guy. Got it. Love it. Okay, now look what we've got. Now this is pretty cool, right? Let's join them all together. This guy can... You go away. Where's my, There you go. You come back. You show up here. Now we just grow this guy just maybe, let's say, 1 meter. Right. Yeah. I probably didn't need to grow it. Oh no, I did want to grow it this way. And now look what I've got. So this little bit of detailing, this is exactly what's going to get us just a little bit more of the, a little bit more detail at the right scale, so that it'll help us, so that it'll feel like, this has got some detail. I may want to punch out some of this stuff, and so thank God I saved this guy. This was at what, minus 1.15, I think? I can't remember. 2, 3. That sounds good. Okay, and actually what I'm going to do is I'm going to shrink these guys a little bit. I'm going to shrink them down 1 meter again, just to this one too. Just so that I can cut a little bit more. Okay, let's see if this works. Now we subtract. Boom, boom. There we go. Save it out. Alright, again, just trying to get some detail, just trying to continue with that cut. Look at this. This is getting there. This is getting there. Okay, so let me join this up. So it's all one big shape. Now, we don't have a ton of time, so I'm not going to spend too much more on this, but let's start putting it all together. Now, one thing I have to decide, here's our model. It looks like, if you notice, it looks like this is basically kind of two wing shapes, both facing forward. I'm wondering if that's the right call. I might do it slightly differently and make it symmetric so that one faces forward and one faces backwards, and then I can have basically engines coming out of this side. So what I can do is, let's copy this, let's flip it around, let's do minus 1.5, and now we've kind of got the two halves, if you know what I'm saying. I still think it's a little too... I think these guys might be a little too wide still. I still may need to shrink them. Let me just shrink them just a little bit. Yeah, that's probably a little bit better. I don't know why this guy's at... That's got to be round off error. Okay. Yeah, so that's a little bit better. Then I think they're gonna. Then I'll be able to do something in the middle. I'll be able to create something in the middle to kind of fill that in. And I think that's not going to be that bad. So to fill that in, we're going to have to create. So there are two wings. We're going to need something like probably a much simpler shape. Probably just, I think we're going to start with just maybe some kind of hexagonal. We want something like this, maybe octagonal actually. A flattened octagon, I think, is probably what we're going to end up with. Let's try it. I don't know if this is going to work. Oops, wrong one. Okay. I still have a feeling this is... Ah, well, whatever. Okay. Let me flip this a little bit. Just by 30, 60. Oh, whoops. Oh no, it's an octagon. Sorry. I think it's 22.5. Yeah, there we go. Alright, let's make this. Probably needs to be... This is not going to quite be perfect. I definitely will need to fix this up a lot, but... And honestly, this doesn't look nearly as bad when I'm not twitching. All these blue lines definitely don't... They're really confusing everything when you look at it, so... I apologize for that. It looks like there's some just interference. I'll have to figure out a better way to do it. This looks better. So you can see how kind of the shape is coming out. It's by no means done or even pleasant yet. That might be a little bit better. This is where I just do a little bit of trial and error. Yeah, this is much better now. That might be too far. That might be too far. I'll leave it at 1.3. I want kind of a well-defined spine. So I think that's a little bit better. And then let me just flip back. Yeah, I don't know if I'm gonna be able to. Don't know if I'm gonna do that. I kind of like the flatter. But if necessary, what I can do, I'll bring in another spine, you know, to kind of show something there. There we go. That's kind of what I was hoping to do. All right. One last thing. I know we're running out of time. Here I'm going to steal some features from the Freyr. Oh, let's see. Unfortunately, now I do want to go back to this mode. I want to steal that piece. Let's flip back to this. And this probably, I think what I'm going to want to do is kind of extend out that round shape. I think I probably just need to extend it all the way out, because otherwise I think it's not going to be quite. It's not going to quite look good. What's the height there? That's 6'5". There we go. What's the width there? 1.5. Maybe a little bit more. And then probably I will taper it down. And maybe we'll even extrude it some more. Yeah, one more. That's not too bad. I have to fix up the texture and all that, but conceptually that's not too bad. I think I probably need to maybe drop this down a little bit just to make it kind of align. Alright, that's not too bad. And there we go. I think that's going to be okay. Move this stuff out of the way. Let's move it out of the way just so we can get a decent view. Well, there's definitely stuff I need to fix up. I mean, I think it needs a lot. Some of the flap detail that you see on the Freyr, I think we need to mimic, and we have that in the design. We just need to add that here. I'm not 100% happy with the steepness of the wing. It's very, very steep, which may not be the right thing for what we want to do. Another thing I think I want to do is try to bring some more of the. Notice that the Freyr has a little bit. The curves are a little bit more graceful. I want to see if I can add some of that grace back. I probably would start by maybe curving. Yeah, I think what I would do is, let me try something. I think these probably need to be angled a little bit. Yeah, maybe that's 13 degrees sounds good, and then raised up. I don't know exactly how much, maybe 13 is too much. Yeah, I don't know exactly where I draw the line. That might be about right. So this has to be basically a mirror image of that. Whoops, what did I say? 9? 9. So this is -9, and it's 0.18. Yes, it's something like that. That's a little bit more. I think that matches kind of my view a little bit better. And then I think I still need to. I probably would want to shrink the wings a little bit more. Either that or have more, or bring more of a spine, kind of bring the spine back up, like maybe add another type of spine here. But I think that's where I want to go. This is kind of almost moving in the right direction. Yeah. Yeah, maybe the other thing I could probably do, I don't want to do this, but if necessary, I can. I'm going to save this before I mess anything up. But I can take this and I can taper it. Nope. Yeah, I can kind of taper that a little bit. It's probably too much, but you know, just to kind of give it a little bit of. And then if I really wanted to, let me just show you one more thing. Talk about, I want, you know, we want a little bit more of a graceful curve. What if I do this? Oh no, that's not what I want. Where'd it go? Where'd it go? I lost my control. This is kind of what I wanted. Yeah, there we go. That actually might be pretty interesting. Yeah, I kind of like that a little bit more. I just kind of bent it. I just bent the whole wing down a little bit just to sag a little bit. I think that just gives it. I mean, it's gives it a little bit more heft as a missile ship. It just makes it feel like it's, you know, a little bit more. And you can see that it's got kind of a little bit more of a graceful curve there, and it's not quite as flat. Plus, I think it just. Anytime you have a curve rather than a straight flat surface, I think you get some more interesting reflections. Like you can already see, right? You know, you get interesting reflections here compared to the reflections here. So that's all to the good. Those are just, I think, improvements in the model. So yes, I think that that curve, I think, is just, I think, the right thing to do. I'll basically just end up cloning this. I'll take it and clone it. All right. Well, anyways, this has already gone over time, but I don't know if this was helpful at all. I mean, I didn't get too far into the model, although you know, you can kind of see the shape. But as you know, 90% of the model is just, you know, all the tiny little details that you end up doing afterwards. That's, I think, part of this part of what takes so long to do some of these crazy models. But I'm gonna leave it for now. Thank you guys very much. Thanks for watching. Hopefully it was helpful, and we'll talk more about what kind of other kind of tutorials you guys might be interested in. All right. Well, thank you very much, and I'll see you next week. All right. Thanks for watching, guys. I don't know if that was at all helpful or not, but it's just real-time rendering. We'll see. We'll see how it comes out. So one thing I wanted to ask you guys before we end, I'm not sure exactly what to do for next session. What I'm thinking of doing is start doing a run through of Eternity Port. I think that might be fun. I haven't done that. And then after the Eternity Port, pick up again with some more mods. But you tell me what you guys think. I don't know if that's a good idea or not, or if you've got other suggestions of things you think I should twitch. I'd love to hear that too. Have I considered releasing sketches in an art book or something? Yeah, I'd love to do that sometime. I think it's something that I'd love to do. Most of my sketches, honestly, are not that great, but I think if I cherry pick the good ones, I think it might be pretty interesting. Quite a few model things can be converted over to other programs. Yeah. POV is POV Ray more boring to watch? Is it less graphical? Yeah, an EP run. I definitely would love to. Okay, so it sounds like there's consensus, or at least a bunch of encouragement about about an Eternity Port run. That's great. Yeah, I need to put together a package of textures and other stuff for some of the and some basic models for some of the for kind of an art drop to let people play with, because I think that would be cool. Yeah, so POV is just mostly text, huh? Yeah, I definitely think Eternity Port needs rebalancing. That's one of the reasons I want to do a run through. I don't know if I should rebalance the weapons the way I rebalanced vanilla before I do the run or not. I think I might not. I think I'll wait, because doing the run I think will help us to just figure out, or help me to kind of get an intuitive sense of which weapons need the most. So I think let me do a run through before I balance the weapons, and then now we can use the run to kind of figure out the right things to balance. Trying to put an embassy in the system. Oh yeah. I don't know. I know there's a ticket about St. Catherine's Star not having encounters. I don't know if that's what you're referring to, but if so, I would like to fix that. I think the workaround right now is probably just do it through code. Do a, either on system created or on universe created, or one of those things. On game created, I forget which one it is. Probably I think on system created is what you want, and just place it manually. I don't know if that's how they do the Tinker, but I think that's probably how you should do it. Yeah, I think that code is probably the best way to do it right now. I mean, and that's guaranteed to work. in the future, I will end up doing some more controls. I think extensions and adventures need just more control over spawning, placement and all that. But later on, I think that's how we'll do it. But I'm glad you have the ticket, because I think we need to kind of keep that in the forefront. Big balance thread about EP. Yes, I think that's right. Yeah, because I would love to know. You guys have hundreds of hours of experience on EP, which is more than I have. So definitely let me know in a balance thread, kind of the weapons that you guys are most concerned about, and obviously suggestions for how we can balance them. Covering some luminous stuff. What do you mean exactly? Yeah, I agree. Oh, Luminous, the program. Yeah, this is my fault for renaming everything, or for reusing names. Yeah, that is a great idea. That is a great idea. I should do a simple little Luminous tutorial. Luminous, unfortunately, is just so rudimentary. It really is just very rudimentary. It basically does the things that I wanted it to do, but if you want to take it beyond that, it's really, really hard. So, yeah, going through some of the configs, I think, is probably what I need to do. Yeah, that's I think a good. Well, that's cool. Yeah, is it? How many things have I called Luminous? I thought it was still only 2, but who knows? Well, you know how I love reusing names. Once I come up with a name, I don't wanna give it up easily. All right. Well, are there any other questions? If there are no other questions, feedback on these ships. Oh, nice. That's really cool. That's really cool. Are they meant to be kind of organic ships? I think that's pretty cool. All right. Well, thanks, guys. Thank you for watching once again. I'm actually, I really do want to finish this model, so I think I'm gonna try to work on this a little bit more. But thank you, guys, and I will next week. I'm just gonna do an Eternity Port run. I think that's a great idea, and I think it'll be a lot of fun, and then that'll lead us towards doing a rebalance of all those weapons there. So, thanks, guys, and I will see you next week. All right.